decided to vote, but who for? They're all the same, aren't they? Jeremy Paxman and a live audience quizzed Cameron and Miliband, though the Labour leader also appeared to be getting questions from himself too. And come election day, which party leaders are we likely to see getting into bed together? With only 37 days left, this is Samir's Election Watch.
I don't know where the lights are taking us, but something in the night is dangerous, and nothing's holding back the two of us. Baby, this is getting serious. The dangerous.
Now, it may appear that all parties are the same, but just go and look into their manifestos and you'll see some very important differences. In fact, there are many places that you can go in order to inform your vote, such as voteforpolicies.org.uk or even votingcounts.org.uk. And of course, if none of these appeal to you, if you feel that none of the parties do stand up for the things and the ideologies that you believe in, there is always that final resort which you can use, and that is the spoiled vote, where basically you leave it blank, you scribble all over your ballot paper. Some people even decide to go for a joke to amuse the people on election day when they're counting up all the different ballot papers. Of course, they don't even have much time for that, they're just trying to flick through and get all the results out of the way. But only use this if you genuinely feel that no other party speaks to you. And it's a lot more important to do that than to not vote at all, because at least this way you are being counted. So, there is an option if you really believe that none of the above are for you. The Q&A session was a huge success for the viewing audience, and of course Paxman, but perhaps it wasn't as successful for Miliband when he decided to answer questions that weren't even posed at him at that point.
But if what you're saying to me is, would it be better for our country, for example, to withdraw from the European Union?
I haven't mentioned the European Union.
No, I'll tell you why I'm saying
You're
this.
making up a question to yourself.
I'm not. I'm saying there's a big choice at this election, Jeremy. There is a choice at this election.
This happened repeatedly. But arguably what's worse is David Cameron's approach, in which he decided to answer the complete opposite of the question that was posed at him.
What do you think has been your biggest foreign policy disaster?
Well, other people, I'm sure, will highlight difficult things that we've had to deal with.
Well, what did you find the greatest reverse?
Well, I would argue that some good things we've done are cutting the European budget, first government to achieve that.
And whichever way you look at it, there were some seriously off predictions being cast.
You were predicting figures of between 5,000 and 13,000 immigrants a year from the expansion of the EU in 2004, and actually something like 400,000 people came in. That's the entire population of Malta equivalent.
Though despite all the grief that he gets, Ed Miliband appeared to be a lot more genuine than most people would have thought he was.
The thing I've learnt most in this job, let me tell you, is to be yourself, right? That's what I am. And, people have to decide, do they want my ideas? Do they want my principles when I've stood up to not just to President Obama, but Rupert Murdoch, the energy companies, the banks, fighting for ordinary people, which is what I believe in and what I came into politics for? And do they want somebody who will think every day about how they put working people first in our country? And I don't care what the newspapers write about me, because what I care about is what's happening to the British people. And I know this country can be so much better. And that's what I came into politics for.
Coalitions, multiple party governments, why is all this becoming ever so relevant in today's political spectrum? Well, the reason is we are in a coalition at the moment, and there is an increasing likelihood that the same thing will happen again. How can we predict this? Well, basically, a quick rundown: the United Kingdom consists of 650 constituencies, or areas. Think of it like the states in the United States of America. In order to form a government, a party needs an overall majority. So a majority from 650 would be 326. Now it's looking increasingly likely that no single party will command this. So in order to get an overall majority, they would need to form a deal with another party and take on board some of their policies in order for a government to work. And that is exactly what is looking likely. Of course, a government can choose to not have an overall majority and aim for a minority government, but then there is the issue that nothing would get passed because the other parties would choose to vote against what the government proposed. That's why it's always nice to get to that wonderful number of 326 or more. Now, how is this going to happen? There is lots of speculation about Labour and the SNP, that's the Scottish National Party, coming to an alliance, an agreement, although nothing has been confirmed. In fact, SNP have denied any such doing, and Labour's Ed Miliband has also not been particularly fond of this approach.
No, look, I'm not going to get into a bargaining game with Alex Salmond. Look, he's not... we're not gonna have
You
a
are?
No, I'm not.
You are. If you have any chance of forming a government, you will, won't you?
No, don't be so presumptuous. You've got 6 weeks to go. You've got 6 weeks to go. You don't get to decide the election results 6 weeks before the general election. You're important, Jeremy, but not that important. It's the British.
I don't want.
It's the British people. It's the British
I
people.
don't want to decide it.
No, come on.
You know there is no.
It's the British people. No. Let me finish the point. It's the British people.
Seriously suggesting you can get an overall majority.
Absolutely right.
Right.
Absolutely
okay,
right.
Okay.
Another potential coalition suggested is between Conservatives and UKIP. And where do the Greens feature? Well, they're most likely going to agree with some of the policies of the Labour Party. So they might help, along with the SNP potentially, help the Labour Party come into government. In fact, there is a sort of ideology going around of do whatever it takes to keep the Tories out. So there could be the Greens, the SNP, the Welsh party of Plaid Cymru joining forces with Labour to form a government, but none of this can be resolved yet. And the final question about the Liberal Democrats. They're currently in a coalition with the Conservatives. Would that happen for a second time running, or might the Lib Dems decide to join forces with Labour?